Hi everyone. Today I am answering the question, does intermittent fasting work? Does intermittent fasting work? So if you are unfamiliar with intermittent fasting, it is typically where people will eat between a certain window. So maybe eat between the hours of like noon and 6, and then they won't eat again until noon the next day. So it's a fast for a period of time, maybe like 10 to 12 hours. And then there's a window in which you feed yourself. So there's that feeding period that you allow yourself. So typically people will do this for weight loss or for fat burn. So when we ask the question, does it work? We're asking, does it produce weight loss? Does it burn fat? Okay. So again, with intermittent fasting, we are feeding ourselves within a certain time period, and then we are not allowing any food into the body for the rest of the hours of the day. So let's say I am holding off on eating until maybe 12 or 1 o'clock, right? If I'm intermittent fasting, maybe I'll finish dinner at night and then I'll come around and wait to eat again until maybe lunchtime. So what does this do to the body, and will this produce weight loss? Well, what happens when we go that period of time without eating is it's going to push our body into starvation mode. Okay, so if we go that long without feeding the body, then what's going to happen is it's actually going to slow the metabolism down. When the body's in starvation mode, it thinks it needs to conserve everything that it was fed, and it's going to store it as fat because it perceives this food restriction as a famine. It thinks that there's not food available, and so it's going to really try to conserve. Okay, so in this mode, your body is conserving, it's slowing the metabolism on purpose, and it's storing fat. Okay, so already you're like, ooh, wait, I thought I was trying to lose fat, right? Isn't that the point? Isn't the point weight loss? So, I mean, if you're asking these questions, like, you're right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So intermittent fasting ultimately is going to produce long-term weight gain because of this starvation mode. So it's not going to result in weight loss. Maybe some initial weight loss, just depending on the individual's body, but ultimately long-term, it's going to end in weight gain. Okay. Another reason this might happen, other than just what's going on biologically with the metabolism, with the muscle mass, you're going to be very likely to end up binge eating. Okay. Binge eating is a very normal response to starvation, and intermittent fasting is placing your body in that starvation mode. So you're very likely to end up binge eating, which could also just kind of naturally result in that weight gain. You're also putting yourself at risk for weight cycling, which is losing weight and then gaining that weight back and then some. And weight cycling is a risk factor for your cardiovascular health. Weight cycling is really not good for your health. So that is another thing that you want to consider before trying intermittent fasting, that it's putting you at risk for weight cycling. So does it work? Well, for weight loss, no. For long-term weight loss, no. What else does it do? Well, we have to acknowledge that intermittent fasting, like any other type of dieting or disordered eating, is a form of physical and psychological trauma. Think about how stressful it is for your body to be in this mode where it doesn't know where food's going to come from next. It's literally cannibalizing itself. It's breaking down your muscle because it doesn't have the energy that it needs through food. And it can't function properly, right? We're interfering with our metabolic function. We are worsening our metabolic health. And we are kind of just messing with all of the ways in which our body functions best. So that is a form of physical, biological trauma. And then psychologically, you're creating an environment of food scarcity. You're creating an environment of deprivation. And anytime there's deprivation, our brains are going to fixate on the thing that we can't have, right? Our brains fixate on all those off-limits foods. Probably during those hours in which you're not eating, those hours in which you're fasting, your cravings are out of control. You're obsessing about food. Your energy is low. You're irritable, right? That's what happens when we're starving. That's what happens when the human body is starved. The brain will intentionally pump out more of the neurotransmitters and the hormones that cause cravings and drive us to eat on purpose. Our brain is like, please eat. You know, it's driving us in the direction toward food. It's doing whatever it can to get us to eat something. So for the body, for the brain, this is very stressful. It's putting us in this state of trauma that if we're ever going to recover from that, we have to stop restricting our food. Okay. The other thing that happens when we are doing intermittent fasting or when we are dieting, when we are cleansing, detoxing, any other type of disordered eating, it creates disembodiment. It disconnects us from our bodies. So we are blatantly ignoring our body's hunger and fullness cues. Okay, so hunger and fullness cues are really important. Think about when you have a full bladder. That's your body's signal, like, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, right? Think about when you feel thirst maybe in your mouth. Your mouth is dry. It means that your body needs hydration. At night, you start to get sleepy. That's a cue. That's a sign that your body needs rest, right? So our bodies are really amazing at communicating with us. Same thing with hunger and fullness. Hunger is the body saying, I need nourishment, I need energy. Fullness is the body saying, I've had enough nourishment, I'm good. But if we are relying on a plan or a program or any type of external source to tell us when it's okay to feed ourselves, then we are creating this disconnection from the body. We are disrespecting the body, and we are inhibiting our ability to cultivate a really strong mind-body connection. We're totally disconnected, right? Why is hunger and fullness important? Well, of course, if we don't honor our hunger, we put our body into this starvation mode. So there, a lot's going to go on there biologically, lots of undesirable side effects. But again, hunger is helpful. Hunger means that the body is working. We want our hunger cues to be online. And when we blatantly ignore them, we just make ourselves so much more vulnerable to overeating eventually, right? Because when we finally have access to food, we're going to be out of control because we didn't honor our hunger in a timely manner. So our body is starving. Willpower is not going to help you at that point. Self-control is not going to help you at that point because we cannot outsmart biology. Biology is going to take over. And it's going to look like loss of control eating or overeating or binge eating. And then same thing with fullness. Like we can't pay attention to our fullness at that point. If we are experiencing this primal hunger, right? If we are ravenous, we're going to blow past our fullness cues because we're trying to just get as much food as possible at that point. Okay? So one way to start to repair some of the trauma that dieting creates is to start to honor those hunger and fullness signals. Those are just two ways. And then the last thing I'll say is this wreaks havoc on the body image. This creates a really tumultuous relationship between you and your body. It's going to be really hard for you to feel confident in your body and comfortable with your body if you're constantly at war with it in this way. You're at war with your body. If you are trying to micromanage your food like this and manipulate your diet and manipulate your body shape and size, you're never going to feel comfortable in your body. You're never going to feel confident in your body for as long as this cycle continues, okay? So if what you want is comfort and confidence in your body and a better body image, and you want to feel comfortable in your clothes, like that's not going to be fully possible if you are stuck in this disordered cycle, okay? The last thing I'll say, this is always important to me just to point out, is that intermittent fasting, dieting, any weight loss program, it promotes weight stigma, which is an oppression, okay? So if we don't want to participate in the oppression of ourselves or others, then we have to acknowledge where we are being fat phobic, where we are participating in weight stigma, weight discrimination, and is that a system I want to be a part of, right? So there's totally a way for eating to be effortless and easy, for thoughts of food to not consume you, for you to feel comfortable and confident in your body. And that is what I teach in coaching all of the time. And it's so incredible to see the results that come from this. We see no binge eating at the end of the program. We see no emotional eating at the end of the program. People who come in feeling like crap in their bodies leave with more confidence than they've ever had. They leave with more energy, right? They leave with more stable body weights. They've reduced their risk of weight cycling. So it's really remarkable, and it starts with kind of rejecting all of these external plans to guide us in terms of how to eat, like a diet or a fast or a detox, and instead we turn internal. We start to tune into the body. What is my body telling me it needs? Where is my hunger? Where is my wholeness? Things like that. And then you become very self-sufficient, and you can self-regulate around food. You can self-regulate, and you don't need this portion control, and you don't need plans, programs, point systems, anything like that, which is so freeing, right? It totally restores your autonomy. It's completely liberating. So one thing we have to do is just kind of remove the restriction, remove this running list of all of these foods are off limits, right? Because again, that's going to create this state of deprivation that ultimately ends in binge eating. And it just exacerbates the signs and symptoms of disordered eating, which can which actually increases your risk of developing a clinical eating disorder by 18 times, okay? So dieting, food restriction, participating in those systems drastically increases your risk of developing a clinical eating disorder. So I just say that to create awareness around like, how is the way that I'm feeding myself the most health promoting in the long run, okay? So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like to book a consultation, you're welcome to apply for a call with me at mariascrementi.com. And I have some online courses as well on the site. I'd be happy to see how I can support you, and I hope you all have a great day.